And the GRIDLIFE iRacers Sports Car Championship enters its penultimate round, and we're a week away from being on the high-speed racetrack at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, the National Park of Speed. Before we head back to the States to a familiar racetrack to many in the GRIDLIFE community, we're going to head over to Circuit Park Zandvoort for our second to last round of the season. This is unfamiliar territory, at least in the real world, for pretty much everybody here, although there are a handful of drivers with FIA licenses in attendance tonight. Hi, everybody. Kyle Heyer, joined by Finian DeCuna for the GRIDLIFE iRacers Sports Car Championship. Finian, this racetrack is awesome. We've seen it in its rescanned form here in iRacing. It is a pleasure to drive two car classes tonight, Porsche 911 GT3 Cup 992s, and, of course, that GT4 category. A little bit lighter on participation tonight. Just about 30 cars going to give us a show, but I'm thrilled. This racetrack's so much fun to drive, especially in tin top machinery.
Yeah, I was going to say, looking at the calendar we have for this series, out of all the tracks, I feel like this probably would have been one of the hardest tracks we would have been heading to if we didn't head to the Nürburgring just last weekend, tackle the Nordschleife. But this is definitely going to pose a unique challenge for these drivers. A very tight, narrow circuit, especially in some parts, some sections, the back half of the track. Very tough to pass, but it's not impossible, and especially considering the final bank corner you can see right there on screen into turn 1, and of course turn 3, another fantastic, unique challenge, especially with the repave and reconfiguration of this track. It's going to be exciting.
Well, last week's winner, I don't even see here. That was Austin Cobb, at least in the GT4 category. So we'll keep our eyes peeled to see if he joins us tonight. But have a quick look at the weather for today's race. Just after 2 o'clock here in the afternoon, and about 75 degrees Fahrenheit on the racetrack, 67 in the air. It's a nice day, 12 miles an hour wind out of the southwest coming from those breezy shores. So it's a nice day for racing, a nice day for virtual motorsports here in the iRacing simulation. Qualifying is already underway, but nobody's set a time just yet. Those two classes we mentioned before both got about a little over a dozen cars apiece, and this should be a lot of fun to watch here as Michael Montello jumps up in the number 65 up into turn 3, one of those other heavy banked corners.
Yeah, one of the front runners in the GT4 series, the GT4 class in this series. He's been running pretty well. Lacked a little bit at Mugello. I think that was a low point in his season for him, looking to come back. Bounce back here in this penultimate round here as he's working through the tough downhill section of this track, and this is again where these drivers really have to be on their toes.
So having a look at our standings coming into the night in the Porsche 992 category, DJ Alessandrini has been the car to beat. That's no surprise there. He leads Kevin Zhu now by 32 points. It's going to be pretty hard for anybody to take him down in that category. But as for the GT4 category, Tom O'Gorman and Austin Cobb separated by just 4 points. Advantage O'Gorman. Raul Iriarty is back just 9 from Tomo, though. It's very, very close for the top spot there. Azimuth Muhammad, Michael Montello, the rest of the top 5. O'Gorman is here tonight. Austin Cobb, again, I don't think is, so that's going to spread things out a bit. Is Raul here, though, is the question?
Yes, he is. He is here in the 41 machine out there at his McLaren, and he is ready to go, and I'm sure he's really looking forward to making up some points, especially in the absence of Austin Cobb. But trying to get up there and fight with Tom O'Gorman, that's going to be a tough battle to win.
Right up against the outside wall, ripping the top side is Tom O'Gorman in this number 94. Got to load my cameras again on these cars. I'll have to do that between qualifying and the race. Time's coming up now for the top 10, and looks like about 3 of the drivers have laid down a time in the 992 category as Tomo starts his first lap. Thomas Lathrop, though, in the Mercedes-AMG goes right to the top of the board and then gets quickly pipped by Andrew Pilata in another Mercedes-AMG.
Yeah, the first couple lap times trickling in here in this session. These drivers have 2 time laps available to them, so 1 of 2 taken up from most of them, as Andrew Pilata kind of leads the first wave of drivers that were able to get a time in. You can see working through turn 3, gets a little bit wide there, really pushing hard, trying to maximize his time.
Yeah, that's a fun corner. You can charge it pretty hard. And up over the crest and heading to the downhill turn. Call that one Skivik, I think.
Yes.
I'm not really up on my Dutch, so.
If anything, you're more so than me.
I mean, I really never was up on my Dutch, to be honest, so I don't have any Dutch to begin with, other than in probably some of my DNA. I'm a European boy way back in the day, probably.
Looking up at the time, she's actually really close for the 992 class. Ida Waxman leading the 992 Cup class. Peter Zhang in second, just a couple thousandths of a second behind. And then a couple hundredths of a second behind is Ryan Christoph in the 46.
Yeah, Peter Zhang continues to impress season after season in the GRIDLIFE iRacers League here. He just continues to improve. This is a challenging race car to drive. Now, in the real world, he's got plenty of experience. Has an FRS that he's run in Time Attack. He's also got an LS Swap FRS that he runs now in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. That thing's a handful, by the way, and maybe is helping him get a grip on this this Porsche. I think, people have sometimes said, maybe not all people, but they've said the FRS in 86 are the poor man's 911. At least we can live our virtual lives and grab a Porsche behind the wheel here as Zhang, as Christoph goes to the point in his beautiful number 46.
Yeah, it goes up to the top. Might be usurped here because DJ Alessandrini, he's coming onto the final bank corner, and we know DJ, he's very quick in this Porsche Cup car. Might be able to take that time down here as he rockets across the start-finish line.
See what he's got, and it's a 136.6. Not good enough for pole for the time being. It'll drop him second behind Ryan Christoph as Iriardi leads in GT4. He's waiting to go again. O'Gorman was only fourth quick on the opening lap. That could turn the points upside down if he can't do better than fourth in the race. That would certainly help the 41 climb those 9 points he needs to take the lead in this category.
He is 5/10 up on this current lap, and that should be close enough to put him on pole. It's just a matter, can he execute through this final third sector, a chicane, and then a handful of corners leading back on the straightaway. If he can hold it off, he might have a shot at getting back up there and taking back that pole position, provisional pole position in class from earlier already.
I always say that any driver can overcome any advantage or disadvantage in a car in iRacing with the balance of performance. But if I'm looking at the way things are standing right now, there's a McLaren on the very pointy end with Raul Iriardi. Then it's Andrew Pallotta in a Mercedes AMG, Michael Montello in a a Porsche. I think one of the only BMW, actually it is the only BMW, Tom O'Gorman. Oh, and there's one more, Romero.
There's one more.
In the 96. Well, he takes it to the top and proves me right about my initial statement. But, when there's that few of the car in the field, it makes me concerned that maybe there's a disadvantage to it at this particular track. I don't know that the BMW is the sharpest tool in the kit, but Tomo is making it sharp all on his own.
And you're going to want to look at the top of the timesheets. DJ Alessandrini rocketing around the final corner, and he's almost a second up on his previous lap. He's going to absolutely shatter through the top spot and take it away from Ryan Christoph by, it's going to be probably about 5/10 of a second there. Big gap between first and second, which we're not too surprised from seeing.
Yeah, he pretty much just stole all the thunder that Ryan Christoph had for a moment. Here's back to Thomas Lathrop now. He's put down enough laps. I think he's exhausted most of them in the Condor Speed Shop 74. 10th place, though, and coasting around. Dana Basinski joins us again tonight. Look at the livery on this thing. Looks like it's rolling right off the showroom floor. And I know his fiance gets to, I don't know, they don't own it, but they get to drive a lot, a Porsche Cayman. I know that they've tracked it quite a bit extensively. Of course, Dana runs a BRZ, a swap BRZ, and the NOS Energy Track Battle Championship, was the champion in that category last season.
And he has finished his laps. In fact, everyone has actually finished their qualifying laps, everyone that was attempting a lap. So it's just a matter of just getting out just a little bit more practice here in the late goings here in qualifying.
I'll take this opportunity to get my cameras loaded on those other cars as we continue to work our way towards this 30-minute race. The franticness of the opening lap can't be overstated, especially, we're coming off of a couple weeks that were pretty challenging. Okayama was a pretty tight circuit. Then we went off to the Nordschleife, which is tight in a very different way. This racetrack, very challenging to pass, Finian, but you can get it done. It tends to race pretty closely. But I'm excited to see how the battles up at the front shape, especially in GT4. Because it's so hard to pass, you end up getting a lot of close battles up at the front. Yeah,
I was going to say, when you do have battles, they are cutthroat. A lot of drivers trying to really force the issue because they know it is so hard to make a move, and you never quite know when you'll get your next passing opportunity. So you're going to see guys fight and fight hard here at this track. But when you get it done, when you execute it, it's going to be very rewarding to see these guys fight. And for the drivers, also extremely rewarding as well, As we got just half a minute remaining in qualifying, we'll switch over to the race. 30 minutes on the clock for these drivers. Just a look at qualifying results. DJ Aldrini on pole, not too surprising at this point in the season. Half a second up on Ryan Kristoff. Even Kristoff himself put another half a second back to Waxman.
Yeah, and only 10 Porsches that will be running tonight, and the rest of the field, the other 19 cars, are all GT4s. There's your top 10. McLaren, Mercedes, AMG seem to be the dominant forces. One Porsche, one BMW in that top 10, but maybe those are the cars to have. We will see.
Definitely look like the cars that will be near the top. We'll see if they can execute here to get down to gridding for the main event.
We're going to have a full pace lap here, so plenty of time to get through our starting lineup. So we'll wait a moment to do just that. Have another look at the weather before we kick things off. Track temps dropped a little bit, just under 73 degrees Fahrenheit, Finney. That's going to be nice and breezy, and should be plenty of grip to be had on this racetrack. The place I always point out, and we talked about this in the SCCA race we just did, turns 9 and 10, flat, wide, fast. You don't have enough speed to lean on downforce, and it's not narrow enough to really define your line. You can kind of get lost in these sections. I find them the most challenging turns on the circuit.
Yeah, you can only get lost. You can easily spin out and crash in these corners. So it's really something, it's a corner you don't want to push. It's always tempting to push because you feel like you're losing out on time, but the more patient you are through there, the better your run will be through there, and also it'll benefit you in the race overall.
Gosh, look at the scenes from Circuit Park Zandvoort, one of iRacing's most beautiful racetracks. We were just talking about this in the last broadcast. The distant scenery is just unbelievable here. I don't think there's any other track. Maybe Willow Springs, but it doesn't have the landscape that this does.
No, honestly, nowhere close to it. Just a beautiful job that they did. It really feels like this went above and beyond here. And then also you got the 3D foliage as well with the 3D grass. It looks absolutely beautiful, and especially in this lighting too. It's about 3 p.m. in the sim, and so you got a beautiful sunset kind of cascading over the track, and definitely add to the mood for these drivers here as they're ready to get going.
Well, there's the field lined up on the front straightaway and the pit building and all the virtual fans that have joined us here. And we've got an event coming up in just a couple weeks' time. We're going to head off to Circuit of the Americas in conjunction with Super Lap Battle for the COTA Special for GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. We're going to kick off our competition season for GLTC. We'll have that broadcast live alongside the SLB coverage. They'll be providing that for us, and you'll hear from yours truly and TBD on the co-announcer for that one. But excited to kick off the GLTC season, and of course, our real season opening event at Carolina Motorsports Park on the second weekend in April. Really excited for that. That is one of our 5 festival tour events for the season. If you'd like to learn more, www.grid.life. Here's the starting grid. It's DJ Alessandrini on the front row, Ryan Kristoff alongside him in his number 46 Porsche.
Moving on back to row numbers, just Camino Waxman with a solid qualifying time in third. Peter Zhang next to him, lined up in fourth in the 14.
Starting in 5th place, it's Kevin Zhu in the 243. Franz Hansen starts 6th in the 44.
In 7th is going to be Richard Sawicki in the 528. Next to him, Alexander Ortega going to be lined up in the 77 in 8th.
And in 9th place, it's going to be Luis Zendejas in the number 17. And Rick Valdez starts 10th in the number 24. Finian, who's starting GT4?
I was going to say, finally you got an even number of cars. It's not offset. So Tom O'Gara will be rolling off first in class in the 94 machine, in one of the few BMWs in that class. Really, you're already in second place in the 41 McLaren.
Yeah, needs to beat Tomo to eat into that points advantage he has. Andrew Pilata rolls off in the second row in the 27 Mercedes AMG. Michael Montello starts 4th in his Porsche Cayman.
Zach Rubin is rolling off in the number 3 car in 5th in his McLaren, and next to him in the Mercedes AMG GT4 is going to be Adam Kovac in the 85 in 6th.
And Gene Sirota starts 7th in the number 12 McLaren 570S. Jaden Burke starts 8th in the number 16 Mercedes AMG.
Moving on back to 9th, going to be Andy Vogel in the number 7 car, lined up in a McLaren, and then another Mercedes going to be lined up with Thomas Lathrop in the 74 in 10th.
Really is the M&M show tonight, Mercedes and McLaren.
And they're all kind of lined up there for the first few rows.
They are. Eric Dewey DeWitt starts, I almost said wrote it off in 11th. Not quite yet, Dewey. Starts 11th in the number 70, and then Tala Sadiq starts in his McLaren in the 12th spot in the number 22.
Another McLaren will find Anthony Montello line up in 13th in the 268. Ian Mazinski line up in a Porsche 718 Cayman in the 45 car.
And Francis Castillo-Romero rolls off in 15th, the number 96. Thomas Moss starts 16th in the number 18, the turn-in concepts car we've got there.
Bill Wright's going to be lined up in the number 11 in Porsche. Next to him, Daniel Persing in the number 29, lined up in 18th in a Mercedes.
And the last row here is going to be rounded out by Ricky Howard in the number 4. There's that kind of sticker-bombed anime Porsche. He'll roll off 19th in class. That's your starting lineup here for the GRIDLIFE iRacers Sports Car Championship. 30 minutes is the race distance. 19 is the lap count, give or take. And the Lizard Brains Porsche on the front point again in the number 25. Does anybody have anything for him? Good qualifying efforts there by Christoph and Waxman, but the drivers that are hunting him in the point standings, at least in third place, Christian Aranja, he is not here tonight. Kevin Zhu is, but he rolls off 5th.
Yeah, I was disappointed not to see Arana here because he's been one of the few drivers that have been able to give DJ a solid fight up near the top of the running order consistently. And unfortunately, he's not going to be here. We'll see if Ryan Christoph, Ian Waxman, Peter Zhang can take it to DJ.
And we will see what they've got as the field enters the last couple of corners, these high-banked last couple of turns here. There's some more of that foliage we were talking about, even in the center of the infield. Well, you will never see it other than this camera angle. It is looking fantastic. That light generators there, Charlie from our operations team would like to see that alongside all the operations trucks on the infield. It's like we're having a GRIDLIFE event here at Zandvoort on the beach.
Can you imagine that?
Man, we've been asked. There was an event concept in Puerto Rico one time.
Really?
Yeah, well,
oh boy.
I mean, it wasn't our concept. It was someone else's concept. But so someday we'd like to. I'd love to have one at Olton Park or Brands Hatch. I think that's the way to go. Field enters the front straightaway here at Circuit Park, Zandvoort. Penultimate round of the GRIDLIFE iRacers Sports Car Championship is green, and DJ Alessandrini is gone.
Already takes off a shot out of the cannon. 3 wide and behind for second. A dive up the inside for the 14. Peter Zhang going to take it 3 wide. They back out of it for a moment. Actually, I say correct myself. They're still 3 wide for just a second.
Yeah, Christoph lost a bunch of spots, and the GT4 field's off into turn 1. O'Gorman leads Pilata and Iriardi. Now they're side by side for second place. They're going to have to sort this out pretty quick. Even though Austin Cobb's not here, they have to make sure that someone's going to go up there and battle O'Gorman as they slam fenders there. And in turn 3, they're going to tag each other again.
More contact between Rolly Iriardi and Andrew Pilata. They'll sort themselves out second and third. But still some side-by-side action in behind them, rolling into the back half of the track, into the high-speed downhill right-hander. You don't necessarily want to be side-by-side in these cars.
No. Oh, lock up from somebody up the road. It's Andrew Pilata.
Oh, boy.
Wow, that's big. And someone else, Gene Sirota, is also tangled up in it. Let's see, did he get some help going off the road, or did he just drive off there too hard, maybe drop a tire in the grass? I think it's going to be the latter.
I think he just drove in there a little bit too hard. I think Gold Tires threw it in there.
Oh, Iriardi's off track as well. As we jump back live, and we'll have to go back immediately to replay. Iriardi's spun out. Let's see what happened to him.
Yeah, spun out in turn 9 right here.
Oh.
Back end just came around.
Contact there.
Oh, and he actually just got hit again.
Oh.
As the number 29 car ahead of him.
Daniel Persing.
Yeah.
That's bad for Iriardi in the championship hunt. O'Gorman's got that pressure off of his shoulders for now. The first lap is roughly complete for the pole-sitting Porsche, but battles continue a bit deeper in the field. Anthony Montello, Thomas Lathrop, Jaden Burke.
Yeah, all of them battles are brewing here as they head back through the final corner and onto the front straightaway for the first time. Oh, Dewey DeWitt out just before the penultimate corner.
What happened to him? Did he get some assistance? No, I think it's just going to walk on him. The rear tires on these McLarens, not up to temp.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised. It takes about a lap to get them really up to temperature. Ooh, Ada Waxman just had a off of turn 3 on the exit. I think might have lost control.
They're making me chase this on the replays, aren't they, tonight? Got up into the marbles on the high side, throttles up, runs wide, grabs the grass, and ooh, that's a hit, too.
Yeah. Yeah, after having such a good run, going to be put back to 7th in class already. So look at this battle. Kevin Zhu in the middle of the battle between Peter Zhang in front of him, Ryan Christoph in behind.
Yeah, Christoph really didn't get a very good start, and so he'll probably spend the rest of the race trying to claw back what he lost in the first 100 yards on the front straightaway. Christoph, another GRIDLIFE Touring Cup competitor. He's got tons of experience in motorsport and racing engineering in particular. He's got a Honda CRX that he runs over in GLTC that has seen probably more development than most TCR cars. It really has a lot of cool engineering in it. But tonight with the rear engine car.
And how about Front Tyson just ahead in second place? He's had a great opening run to this race. Started in 6th up to second place already, up 4 spots. And he's got a bunch of hungry Porsches in behind him. Peter Zhang, Kevin Zhu, Ryan Christoph, Alexander Tate, all trying to get back at him. get those spots back.
So second lap complete, and Waxman's going to hit pit lane. No surprises there. The damage on that car might be terminal, the amount that he hit. I don't see the wheels knocked out of alignment, and maybe he'll grab a repair.
Yeah, I was going to say, he didn't have a meatball flag. It wasn't that bad of contact, but definitely probably going to be driving correctly. Here's a battle brewing in behind. This is Luis Zendejas and Rick Valdez. It's going to be Zendejas that'll win out.
He'll grab that spot, rotate through, as someone described it earlier, the stupid bowl turn. Turn 3. I think it is a tricky turn because the banking is so severe that it's easy to bottom the car out and get it upset, spin it around. If you charge it too hard.
Adam Kovac just wiped out of turn 3.
A lot of single car incidents tonight. He's got damage, I think, too.
Yeah, he got a lot of damage. He took a decent hit of the wall. It's coming out of turn 3, the stupid bull corner.
Yeah.
And he went wide onto the grass and
yeah, that's going to hurt the 85. That's exactly the thing that we're talking about, though. It kind of spits you out. More trouble for Zendejas in the 17. And here comes the GT4 leader, Tom O'Gorman. He sets sail on the battle for second, which is fierce behind him between Ruben and Montello.
I'd really love to put some I can't even call them lap cars. It's technically cars that are faster than him. But some traffic that he'll put in between himself and Zach Rubin, who's currently the GT4 car, chasing him down.
Man, a lot of action here in the first couple minutes. And not a lot of them are multi-car accidents. I think most of them have just been single-car spins, unsettled. Track temps are cool. That could be a contributing factor, but I think just the challenges of this circuit that not a lot of drivers have experience on. And to boot, it's a relatively new rescan, so even if you had experience on it before in iRacing, you have less than you did because it's a brand new track, effectively.
It really has. Putting in the lap time is going to be a bit tough. Up ahead for second in class, Michael Montaldo on the back of Zach Rubin. He's going to peel out to the right in his Porsche Cayman. Throw it up the inside. That's way on the McLaren.
Holy cow. Made that stick, and he is through on Zach Rubin. So gap up to O'Gorman is now almost 4 seconds. Tomo is looking pretty free and clear here. But you've got to keep the car in one piece, and he might have to have some traffic navigation here. There's a pretty big gap between the Porsches and the GT4s at the start. As Christoph and Alex Arteat kick off. Alex Arteat, longtime competitor in the NOS Energy Track Battle Championship in his BMW M3.
Yeah, Christoph ended up letting Arteat by. I'm not sure if that was because he had a slowdown or what, but
yes, that is accurate because he's fighting him hard now.
Yeah, so I'm going to assume that wasn't just a friendly way by. He's fighting for that spot back. Yeah, they head side by side in the chicane. It'll be Christoph that just nose ahead of Arteat to get the spot.
And no ABS, you got to be careful leaning on the brakes too hard after the downforce peels off. So it makes that braking zone pretty tricky as you're slowing down from pretty quick to pretty slow and coming out of a fairly medium speed section. So you're lined up for a pass and you just sometimes lock it up and drive off in there too hard. We saw that especially the case with the open wheel cars we just came off of as Pilata and Moss fight for 8th place. Keep an eye on this 18. He's up from 16th spot.
And it's actually a battle between Jaden Burke and Anthony Montello through the chicane. They went side by side through there, and it'll be Burke that'll win out, bully his way around the 268 of Montello.
And for really making us chase action tonight, Christoph's off. Haven't had a moment to breathe.
Yeah, just after he got past Arteat in turn 1, I think did he outbrake himself.
Yeah, he snapped off to the left, didn't hit anything. But we just continue to play whack-a-mole with the action here. Here's Burke and Montello going back side by side into turn 1. And Burke clears Montello.
Whoa, contact! And Montello's going to get a little bit sideways.
Almost cleared him. And behind him, Pilata and Moss. Andrew recovering from his early incident.
Decent recovery, all things considered. Back up to 8 and still has some time left to work with.
Richard Sawicki is off.
The next victim.
Yeah, way up the road. What happened to him? Another grab in the grass on entry. This has been a common, and because the corners are so fast and flowing, you feel the need to widen the entry up a bunch. But as soon as you put that unloaded tire in the grass, I mean, it's game over already, and it's too late to catch it by the time you realize it's happening. Here's Ricky Howard chasing Dana Basinski in that green Porsche here for 15th place in class.
Yeah, there's a lot of drivers back here that have struggled with an incident or two. They kind of rebound their races here from the back of the field.
Ricky Howard's actually up 3 spots as he continues to climb. You see Dewey DeWitt just up the road. He's down here because of a spin at the penultimate corner on the opening lap. I would think that the Porsche would be the car to have here, but the choices seem to indicate otherwise. I'm actually surprised the McLaren has been as popular as it is. I know the Mercedes is a pretty safe car generally, but the McLaren choice has baffled me a bit. I never really could get comfortable in this car in iRacing. I'm not sure what it is, and maybe it's just a driver preference thing. But I certainly didn't love the BMW. It was between the Porsche and the Merc for me. And the Acid just felt like driving a battleship. I'd never liked that one either.
Well, up ahead, Jaden Burke, Anthony Montello again going at it. And once it's side by side into turn one, it'll be Jaden Burke that'll win that battle again. But this is really starting to heat up between these two.
Love the livery on this number 16. The nose graphics especially.
A very beautiful looking Mercedes-AMG GT4 car. As you look at Kevin Zhu, he's under attack, or I should say he's attacking Peter Zank for third.
I know we expected this to be pretty action-packed. I feel frantic. This is a 30-minute race. We used to do 3:15s. It was too much.
I think our brains would explode at that point.
Gosh,
too much going on.
I was so stressed out by the ends of those races, just trying to capture it all. You know, because in a sim broadcast, you can't. There's no such thing as missing the wreck. Like you know the wreck happened. You know the pass happened. You have to somehow jam it all in to the broadcast time without pulling away from the action that's live. You can't watch it all at once. You're just best to bounce around. Here's Kevin Zhu back on Peter Zhang here for third.
Anyway, Peter Zhang taking a compromise entry, trying to block off any charge from Kevin Zhu. And he will still hold on to third, but Zhu still in hot pursuit.
Gorman's gone back around Zendaha a couple times, and comes a couple Porsches. Richard Sawicki's the other.
Decent amount of speed difference on the straightaway, although
yeah,
he lets Gorman back on by.
It's like a track day. One guy's got a vet, and he doesn't know what he's doing, and one guy's got an FRS or Miata and does. But that is a little irritating if you're O'Gorman to have that sort of thing where they pass you on the straights and slow you up in the corners. He's got a pretty big gap. But it's not all. I mean, it's not that much bigger than it was a couple laps ago. He's got to be smart with it.
No. He's got a couple seconds back to Montello. Not a lot, but a small gap.
Now Richard Sawicki is a competitor with him in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup.
I'm sure he'd love to get by, but at the moment doesn't seem like he's quite got the pace to get on by.
Still has it's kind of fluctuating around 3 seconds. And Montello last time by put in a much quicker lap, 0.6 of a second, but I think a lot of that was due to traffic. Here's Dana Basinski and Dewey DeWitt. They have shared the racetrack together in the real world in time attack competition. Dewey's got a turbocharged Subaru that makes quite a bit of power. Dana Basinski's got a Cape Swap BRZ, and I'm not sure Dana's passed Dewey a lot of times on track because of those car differences, but here he is fighting for 13.
That's what he's trying to do it in the sim. We'll go back to the inside and turn 10 to switch back, and not quite able to establish his car alongside, so they have to sit him behind. But if he can time a decent run through the final few corners, back on the straightaway, might be able to execute with the slipstream. Continues on behind.
Yeah, I think give him the front straightaway, but again, the McLaren's got legs that the Porsche doesn't have. I think the weapon of choice for me personally would have been the Porsche, because it is so delicate. You can kind of point and shoot it wherever. Maybe the problem is it's got a shorter wheelbase and it isn't as stable in high speed.
Yeah.
But the McLaren showed us it wasn't stable at low speed, so who knows?
I mean, who really does know, right? Pick your poison.
Well, the leader's running a BMW, so maybe he's got the choice over everybody.
I mean, but it's Tom, though. He can make anything go fast.
I drive a golf cart to win this race, probably.
That would be something to see in iRacing, a golf cart.
I've seen DJ, we haven't talked about him in a while, I've seen DJ ride 2 electric scooters at once. There's a picture of that somewhere. It's just as wild as you can imagine. 1 foot on one scooter, 1 foot on the other, and it went well for about 100 feet.
I was going to say, that sounds like a trip to the hospital.
Yeah, well,
depending on how fast
anytime Luke McGrew tells you to do something, don't do it. That's what I've learned.
Which is funny, because I've strapped into, alongside of a Dodge Charger, went flying around Road Atlanta.
Yeah. Probably the most sane thing that you will do with him. Didn't get a ride of the Vopper that day, but. Rattling up here. Iriarty He's got to salvage whatever he can because he wants any shot at O'Gorman or Cobb in the standing. I mean, obviously Cobb's not here, so he's going to lose some points, but Iriarty's got to keep proximity to O'Gorman, and it's not looking good as we approach the halfway point of this race.
No, it really isn't, because quite a few of the cars up ahead of him are kind of spread out, and unless he can get by Moss quickly here, which I think he's going to be hoping to as they head through the penultimate corner into the final corner. He's going to have a long race ahead. He's back in 10th, O'Gorman leading up in first, so it's a big gap in position. There's going to be a lot of points that Iriarty's going to be losing out on, and I don't quite think he has the speed. He might. He has a lot of speed.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't think he might have something, but here he goes alongside, maybe some contact door to door. Not quite, as Iriarty is not able to get past in turn 1.
McLaren's got some legs. Look at Dana laid on the brakes in the Porsche. Pulls up alongside Dewey to win, and through he goes up into 13th place.
I always kind of forget how much top speed the McLaren has, really, especially at the bigger tracks.
Got a 7th gear to play with as well.
Oh, Iriarty side by side with Thomas Moss at a very dangerous part of the track.
Well, someone's got to give here. I said earlier, you can go into this corner side by side, but you can't leave it side by side. A shove and a push, and Iriarty just keeps the car on the road. That was almost disaster.
Robin's racing, even though we're not in stock cars.
Didn't bump him, didn't shove him. Gosh,
Trying to rattle his cage.
Rattle it, he almost punched a hole through it there. Kevin Zhu, Peter Zhang. This battle has not fully diminished as these two continue to fight for a spot on the podium. Zhang has lost touch with Franz Hansen, who's not keeping pace with DJ, but doing a valiant effort, I suppose. These two, sorry, Thomas Moss and Iriarty, they were side by side again. You can't look away. Both of these battles are fierce.
There's some really good battles all over the track, and we're looking at the two fiercest ones in both classes. Zhu gets back to Peter Zhang. Meanwhile, you're going to want to switch back to Moss and Iriarty because they're nose to tail through the final corner.
With McLaren's got Mercedes is going to be a bit of a dog down the straightaway. I mean, it's just like he's got another car, another class. Drives right by. Well, he does.
Couldn't quite get there. A big dive from Moss, and he parks his Mercedes up in front. Contact, and Iriarty's around again.
Ooh.
That's not going to be good, and he's going to lose even more spots now.
Yeah, that's...
I
don't know how I feel about that one, to be honest. I don't really... I'm going to defer to the stewards, of which don't exist. So
I was going to say, we don't have to make a judgment on it. That's a good thing.
No, I bet the drivers have already made that judgment, though. Kobach and Moss. Now Moss has got Kobach to deal with. I mean, if you want to get technical, I mean, the door... mid-corner passes are always kind of, you know, but
yeah,
holes there. Sort of.
Tip gap car.
Yeah. Adam hates that Senna quote. He says it's responsible for so much junked grassroots racing machinery. So many Mazdas have had their doors beat in because of Ayrton Senna's quote. I bet you saying it ironically. If there was a graveyard of Mazda doors, you could probably stock a warehouse for 20 years.
Again, Peter Zhang and Kevin Zhu continue their brawl for third place. I'm sure Zhang's probably sick of seeing Kevin Zhu in his mirror at this point.
Oh, man. It'll wear you out, especially if...
Well, never mind.
That was on you. That's commentator curse.
He just took the curving. Yeah, he took way too much curving there.
And it was a slow spin, too. Could never really pull it back under control. We'll drop to 5th now and see if he can tack it back up and go for it. Back to Kobach and Moss. Remember, Kobach was in the fence earlier. He's got pretty significant right side damage, but he's trying to overcome it here on this battle for 9th.
Maybe able to, depending on the run he gets out of the corner. Moss, decent run out of turn 3, so I don't think Kobach's going to have anything from this time. And an update on where Iriarty is. He's running back in 15th.
Not what he needed today.
No.
And going back to that opening lap crash, though, that was on him. And you look at the points paying picture. That's just you could blame another driver for a wreck you had later in the race, but you can blame yourself for being in that position in the first place.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how realistic he thought his championship hopes were, but They mathematically are extremely realistic, but not after this race.
I was going to say not after this race, unless something tragic happens to Tom O'Gorman up in front.
He's got
Thompson pretty clean air, so I don't think anything is set to happen to them. One driver who isn't in clean air is DJ Alcindrini, because he's approaching some GT4 lap traffic.
Well, he's got a 15.5-second lead, so if he manages to bungle this up, give it to France at that point. You have so much time to make decisions. It's very easy to make mistakes, and we've seen DJ put in this scenario before in other series, other leagues with this multi-class format, is if you have a driver right behind you, you don't have time to make those decisions in the proper way, or at least to make them the way that you probably should. So, with that pressure, it's easier to make mistakes. When you've got a 16-second advantage, there's no pressure. You can choose to put your car where you feel most comfortable, and often that's the safest way to do it. When you have pressure from behind, you're more inclined to take risks. And that will get you in trouble.
Speaking of which, Adam Kovac was almost just spun himself out trying to get Max Thomas Moss in turn 1. He got a really good run on the back of him. See right here, into turn 1 he goes. Maybe a little bit hard to see from this camera, but the car steps out on the back end right.
Yeah. Oh, right there too on exit. Had a thing slid out sideways. Lada and Burke for 5th. Really, the start of the GT4 race was pretty messy, and we lost a lot of the drivers that started up front to issues, and Pilata was a second-row starter, and he's now just about to scrape his way back into the top 5, assuming he can complete this pass.
Assuming he can, as long as he can stay close here by the front screen, he might have a shot. Of course, it all really depends on the run you get out of the final corner.
Over the curbs there, and
Pilata took a really decent helping. I cared that to check and make sure he didn't get a slowdown.
Evil slowdowns. No fun. This is going to be a battle here on the front straightaway. Pilata's going to look drivers left. Going to go the long way on the banking. That's not going to work. He's going to find the door open now, and they're going to go side by side down the front stretch as Burke chases him to the grass.
Gets a great run out of that corner, and it'll actually clear Jaden Burke, who still has a potential chance to be up the inside, and Pilata will slam the door shut. Maybe a little bit too much, because here comes Burke back on the inside.
Yeah, but it's going to bend back to the left. That should solidify Pilata's pass there. Risky move, and he dove in there pretty deep, but he managed to hang on. Meanwhile, behind him, Kovac, Moss.
Oh, contact.
Moss will hang on to this 9th spot. He's been here so long, he's growing moss on the tailgate of that thing. He's
and actually, right off the back of Adam Kovac is another battle brewing. Dana Basinski and Gene Serrata, they're fighting out for 11th. So then it's effectively now a 4-car battle for 9th.
Gosh, wearing me out. Burke and Pilata, though, I think is the slightly more volatile one for the time being. Rick Valdez is going to lose a spot to Sawicki. 2 Porsches going at it here for 7th place. They clear each other. Now back to Kovac and Basinski.
It's really getting tight. And through Masters they will go.
Masters is the only name on this track I can pronounce.
I was gonna say, no, there's turn 9 and turn 10 right here. You can pronounce those.
Nope.
I would hope.
Up onto the 3rd corner. Christoph trying to steal one back from Kevin Zhu. Battle for 5th. Surprised. I mean, this shows you the pace that Zhu and Christoph both have. They both started up towards the front. Kevin slipped, probably should be chasing Peter Zhang back down, but Christoph is fast enough even back here that he's not letting Kevin drive away. They're both faster than Artean up the road, though.
Yeah, as I said, they're starting to close back in, it seems, so that could be potentially heating up the next couple minutes. This is also heating up, flying out of the final corner is Thomas Moss with a train full of cars in behind. Here comes Adam Kovac looking to the left-hand side again. They made contact last time through. Well, they make contact again.
How long do you hold back the wave if you're Thomas Moss? He's really good at diving off into turn 1. Kovac going the long way around. If he can keep the overlap here, he might have a shot at it into turn 3. Oh, contact! Oh!
I think there's some netcode in that.
That will, and see Sirota go off in the background here. Oh, there was pretty big netcode there.
Yeah. It's been an issue with that in iRacing recently.
Yeah, which is strange because I don't remember it being that way. I mean, there was netcode incidents, but not as many. I mean, they were feet apart here. I don't think they would. There are some netcode crashes that would happen like regardless of the netcode or not. That was not one of them. I don't think they would have crashed without it, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a really unfortunate way to end that battle. Hoping They'll both see the replay and realize that was not their fault.
Yeah, it sucks too because it just takes you right out of the immersion of the racing when you have to be concerned about the internet bubble. I mean, regardless, I'll take iRacing's netcode over the way other sims portray online, but it is a give and take.
The past couple months have been a little bit more egregious than some other times. But Dana Basinski, big run on Thomas Moss, side by side to the chicane.
Oh, that's a big lunge there for Basinski. And Moss is off in the dirt. It's going to slow him up a bit, but he has the shorter radius, and he'll keep the spot.
Got to use the dirt to rotate the car, and he's got now the overall race leader. There is DJ Alessandrini in his 25 Porsche Cup 992.
Catching these guys quickly. Pretty nice spot. They'll just go around the outside of him right here. Going to keep Dana from making the pass on the left until now. He's going to pop out this time, and here he comes.
He's slight bit of slipstream from DJ up ahead, and will blow past Moss. Not quite. Moss comes back on the inside of the big dive.
Good on the brakes down there. Oh, a little contact. And Dana will have to try that one again.
And you might want to look back up at Christoph and Kevin Zhu. Kevin Zhu in the gravel off the final corner. He goes up high. Christoph going down low.
Drag race down the front stretch. See if Zhu pops back in and he'll try to get back by him at turn one. I'm not sure that he's late on the brakes. Almost ran into the back of the 46. He panic braked there too. You can feel it.
Probably way closer than he would have liked to the back of Ryan Christoph. But Christoph will get up into fifth. Back up this battle for ninth between Moss and Basinski.
There's been no shortage of on-track action this evening.
Are you not entertained? We're tired trying to keep track of all of it.
I am exhausted. Under 5 minutes to go and about 3 laps remaining. As Basinski is just hounding the back of this Mercedes AMG. Goes to driver's left. Yeah, this is going to be a tricky pass to make, though.
I might if you can pinch Moss off here. Oh, Moss spins.
That's what you needed, and he's through. Tom O'Gorman's got 2 Porsche, well, 1 Porsche behind him that he is driven by on pace alone. So Tom still kind of got that to deal with.
I'm pretty sure he's passed both of them earlier as well.
Yeah, he's passed and repassed them a handful of times, which is why I said earlier, it's never really any fun to do that. You'd rather just have the faster cars drive away. But the Porsche Cup car is a bit of a handful, especially at a track like this that requires so much nuance. Now I know Tom doesn't really care about the points and he's just here for fun, but you wonder if it's in the back of his mind a bit.
Oh, definitely is.
I don't know that he might have run for a points championship in a GRIDLIFE round once before. But, I mean, usually he's just here for the party, but without San's party up at the front, I mean, next best thing. Give you some.
It's been a party for him for most of this series.
Get you some virtual pesos to buy yourself a trophy. What's the currency in the Netherlands? Not a peso.
I'm going to assume that they use the euro. I don't think they use anything else.
I'm cool with that assumption. 3 minutes left, and Alessandrini working his way through the chicane. Now still deep in traffic, but he hasn't really had much to contest as far as lead
20 seconds up the road from front.
That's more than a second a lap, by the way. We're in lap 17, so. Battles have been in the midfield. It's like we're watching a Formula One race today.
I was going to say, really, with the gap of 20 seconds, yeah, it really is like a Formula One race.
Max Verstappen. Go, go, go. What's that song?
Max, Super Max.
Is that the one I'm thinking of?
I don't know. It's probably the one you're thinking of, but that's the one I keep hearing for a lot of times.
Alex Artea looking off the rear tailgate of this 911 992, and there's Ryan Christoph. You have to feel for Ryan, man. He's had that front row start and just bungled the start and fell back to 6th or 7th, and it's just a slow reclaim of all those spots.
He's been close to getting around where he started if he can get past Artea. It's going to be a bit tough, though there is some lap traffic up ahead that could either help him or hurt him, depending on where he catches them.
A minute 53 left, so next time by is going to be our white flag. running out of laps if you're Ryan Christoph. Love this camera shot in the banking. Artea's going to go to the bottom. Christoph's going to rip the top. That should give him a nice big run here. And is he going to go side by side? This is a dangerous spot to do it.
I think he's a lap car.
Yeah, I think he kind of didn't push the issue there. Wow, that was tight.
The tough place to get past lap traffic.
Yeah, tough place to get by any traffic. But it almost, Artea put himself in a box there by going to the bottom of the track. I mean, you can't just drive in the high lane when there's a car there, so he did what he had to do, but the top side is so much faster. You have that extra distance to go. You don't have to slow down as much. The banking's higher. All those things combined to mean you kind of squirt out of that corner with a bunch of velocity, like a
meanwhile
ketchup bottle.
White flag for DJ Alessandrini comes across the start-finish line. He's started the final lap.
Right past him. There's those dual white flags I was pointing out earlier, Finn.
Yeah.
Only the first guy throws the checkered. I don't know why that's...
That is really interesting,
right?
You pointed out, because they are supposed to be synced in theory, but we'll see what happens again.
The finish line is the first of those two lines. The start line is the later of the two. It's Christoph, big run here on Artea. Big run. Artea's going to drop to the inside. Nice defensive maneuver early on the straightaway, but Christoph has pace enough to drive around the outside, but Artea's later on the brakes. He might be in too deep, though. Too deep.
And off goes Christoph, trying to see if he can get back on the gas ahead of Artea. Artea can't quite get back. It'll be Christoph through, up to fourth.
Nice pass there by Ryan Christoph, and I think Alex had the right idea. Bit too hot and heavy, though. Way up the road, off in the distance. Francis Castillo-Romero and Eric Dewey DeWitt fighting for 12th place, and Alex Artea just had another spin, drops the spot to Kevin Zhu.
Who for third, battle heating up Peter Zhang and Franz Hansen. Actually battle for second, I should say, between these two. Lap car getting in the way of Franz Hansen and can't quite get away from Peter Zhang.
Yeah, and that was close. I think Hansen will be able to hang on, though, with just a couple of corners left. DJ Alessandrini has some lap traffic, but otherwise not a lot in the mirror. But there is everybody in the rear view here. He's going to let that car finish their final lap. Checkered flag, Alessandrini wins at Circuit Park Zandvoort. Franz Hansen, this might not be over yet between Zhang and Hansen. If Zhang can set him up here, he might have a shot at him. Throttles up, he's going to have a run.
Oh, he's having a really good run here. It just matters, does he have enough straightaway to work with here? Through the final corner they go.
Oh, checkered flag. I don't think he's got enough of one, though. Franz Hansen is going to hang on, but just across the line by about 1/10 of a second. That was close. Tom O'Gorman now working his way through the last couple of corners here.
Yeah, trying to finish out his race. He's been effectively clear of everyone. He's currently 5 seconds up the road from Michael Montello's closest competition. Here's a battle brewing, though. Zach Rubin, Thomas Lathrop, these two have been following nose to tail for most of this race. Lathrop, though, I don't think he's close enough to make a move.
He's getting there, and he's came all the way back in 10th. He's had a last couple rounds pretty rough, so he'd love to grab a podium here, and he's very close. He'll have a couple corners. We'll check back in on this one as Tomo is going to enter the penultimate turn here and strengthen his points lead with just 1 round left to go. And it's a track that he has had experience at plenty of times in his racing career. Checkered flag, Circuit Zandvoort. Tom O'Gorman in GT4. He'll snag another one here in the GRIDLIFE iRacers Sports Car Championship. Michael Montello, 6 seconds back, will come home in second, and Thomas Lathrop is close. I just don't think he's got enough time to get there. Maybe another lap would have done it for him.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he needed a little bit more to get close enough, but not quite. It'll be Zach Rubin, they'll finish in third. Lathrop will come across the line in fourth.
And those are effectively the last couple cars across the stripe. Jaden Burke still has yet to finish, but there he goes across the finish line. Whew, that was a lot of racing.
Yeah, it was.
Here's your results. Top 10 overall, Alessandrini dominates in dominating fashion as he does. Franz Hansen just clings to second over Peter Zhang, and it's Ryan Christoph, Kevin Zhu, the rest of the top 5. O'Gorman and Montello first and second in GT4, Finian.
Yeah, you can see him just edging out over there. Michael Montello, some decent points to his name. Of course, looking back further down the points, you're going to see one driver that really missed out on the points. You actually can't even see him on this page because he's that far down the order, but Rubin, Lathrop, Jaden Burke read out your top 5. Then you got Plata, Montello, Vocal, Dana Basinski, Gene Sirota, Thomas Moss, and Francis Castillo Romero in 12th. And as we head to the third page of finishers, you'll find Rolly Uriardi, who really lost out on a lot of points, finishing back at 14th.
Yeah, he definitely didn't need that, and it was kind of a two-pronged issue for him tonight. One of his own doing, one arguably, as that is the rest of your running order. Michael Montello comes home in second in the GT4 category and never really had a clear view of Tom O'Gorman after the drop of the green flag, Michael, but come home in second. And as far as the championship is concerned, you came into the night down in fifth in the points, 19 back from the lead. You didn't close in on Tomo, but you definitely gained on Muhammad Iriardi and Austin Cobb. Take us through your night.
Yeah, it was a pretty uneventful race apart from lap 1 where I got jump scared by 2 different people spinning in front of me. So I miraculously made it out alive from that. But once I got through that hurdle, then yeah, it was just smooth sailing. And I started driving at a bit of a safety margin because I didn't want to spin off. But I was surprised that I was keeping within, a tenth or two here of Tom. And I think that's good enough for me.
Yeah, looking forward to Road America next week. It's our final round of this championship season, and I'm not sure how the points are going to line up, but you might have a shot at it here. So what's your plan and goal next week at Road America? Is that a mission on your mind, or is it just out there to have fun and try to snag a win?
I think whatever happens, happens. This season has been a lot of ups and downs, certain races that didn't go my way, getting disconnected sometimes. So things certainly haven't gone out as well as they could have for me. So wherever I end up at the end of it, I'm going to be happy with it because I've had some good races. So.
Michael Montello, second in the number 65 Porsche tonight in GT4. Michael, thanks for talking, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, let's move on now to third place in GT4. That was Zach Rubin in the number 3, and you held off a hard-charging Thomas Lathrop there at the tail end in your number 3 McLaren, and had an interesting night, Zach. It looked like there were some fun battles here and there, but on the podium, take us through your night.
Yeah, everyone wanted to go ice skating at the beginning. So I was just like, I'm just going to do laps now. I don't want to join them. That worked out. Then Thomas, he was there the entire time. I thought he was going to get me at the end, and I think Pilata, he was making a big run coming up at the end as well.
Yeah, super fun. This racetrack is challenging. Take me through the opening lap. You mentioned the skating rink. It seemed like the McLarens in particular were slipping and sliding around a lot on the opening lap. What made that car so challenging here? I know the track temps were low. Does that have something to do with it?
Honestly, I have no clue. I just this is my first time here outside of like a couple of laps of practice. I think like last night or something. So what's called opening lap on cold tires with McLaren here was just not fun. The amount of times I spun during the out lap on practice was a little too much.
Well, not a bad night. Third place in GT4. Zach, thanks for chatting, and have a good night.
You too.
And because we got a full house up there tonight, Finney, we might as well take some time. Thomas Lathrop comes home in 4th place in GT4. Hard charging on Zach Rubin there at the end. Thomas, take us through your charge. You almost had a podium right up there on the horizon, just couldn't quite get there.
That was a lot of fun. Appreciate all that you guys do. Appreciate that my friends watch the stream, and that was a great race from Zachary. He kept it ahead of me.
Yeah, I mean, the last couple rounds you've had some bad luck here, so it's good to kind of right the ship as we make our way to the last round of the season at Road America next week. And this racetrack is pretty tricky in some ways. We saw a lot of carnage at the opening stages of this race. How slick was it for you in the Mercedes? Because 10th to 4th, not a bad run at all. Seemed like you were having less trouble than some of those ahead.
I didn't get a lot of practice on the track. It was definitely a little worse than the practice conditions that I did, but it wasn't too bad. I try and play it pretty conservative at the start of a race generally, so just try to stay clean. There was a little carnage that I capitalized on, and I was bummed to see Raul spin out of 2nd place. I wanted to see him do well, but that's the way it goes sometimes.
Thomas Lathrop, 4th place in the number 74 Condor Mercedes AMG. Thomas, thanks for stopping in and chatting, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. And Tom O'Gorman, just making sure you're awake, Tom, led that race by a little ways. He had some fun battling, well, maybe it wasn't so fun, battling some of those Porsches at the tail end of the Porsche Cup class field. Not a lot of pressure from behind, though. Great points tonight as you head into the last round of the season. Next week, you're topping the standings. How interesting was that here at Zandvoort on the rescan?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, this track is fun to drive regardless, and I was definitely bummed to see that the 3 guys behind had some issues because I think we were actually really close on pace. It would have been a good race. But yeah, I had the P Cups to play with a little bit and the track to drive, and I enjoyed my race. It actually went by really fast.
You know, I know that you're all in for the party most of the time, so I have to ask, Have you even looked at the points? Are you battling in the points, or is it all about the race wins for you this season?
I'm aware of the points, but to be honest, I'm using this as like the routine of staying in racecraft and practice and that kind of thing. So just being around people is kind of what I'm looking for, and that's why it's been fun for the last couple weeks, especially with Austin. Miss you, Austin. Where the hell are you? Actually, I know he's doing Bathurst practice.
Oh, gotcha. All right. Well, I didn't know that's coming up this weekend, isn't it? Oh boy.
It is.
Tom, thanks for your time and using it as a tool, and you were the sharpest one out there in GT4. Thanks for chatting, and we'll see you next week at Road America.
What'd you call me?
The sharpest
tool.
tool.
I'm kidding. Thanks, guys.
Have a good night, Tom. All right, moving on now to how about our GT3 Cup field? Let's start with Ryan Christoph because we got him to chat with. Ryan, typically you're running in a Honda CRX. This car is a little bit more unruly. We saw that kind of rear its ugly head at the start there. You got it kind of bungled back together and finished fourth. Take us through your night. You had some good battles up there.
Hey guys. Zandvoort with a P Cup is just it just feels so good. I got to visit there I think in 2019 before all the updates, and I just love that place so much. So I just get really excited and into it. So a lot of immersion, feeling the car, and had my best quali ever.
Yeah, that qualifying was very impressive. What seems to click with you in this racetrack? Because it's new for almost everybody. Obviously, the rescan's relatively fresh. So, was this a track that you'd practiced a whole bunch, or does it just click with you for the corners? It reminds me a lot, I think, the flowing nature, maybe Waterford Hills?
It kind of is. It's like a big, fast Waterford. And it has a lot of Waterford vibes before all the F1 updates. It's just some little bleachers in the middle of nowhere and nice, flowy track. A lot of club track feels. But I biffed the start. I was sleeping, and I paid for it.
Well, it certainly is no longer some bleachers in a field here at Zandvoort, at least not the way that we've got it in iRacing. Ryan, thanks for chatting with us. Nice job. Top 5 tonight in the Porsches.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Peter Zhang comes home in third, another podium for the number 14 Turn-In Concepts car. Peter, we've been kind of following your progress in the GRIDLIFE iRacers series the last couple of seasons. You continue to get better and better and better, and now you're fighting for podiums each and every week in one of the most challenging cars in the service. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, I mean, it's really rewarding to race against everyone here. Everyone's so good. So, and the car the Porsche is just fantastic. It's definitely it'll bite you, but it's definitely rewarding when you get it right.
Yeah, it certainly has some intricacies and some challenges. The lack of ABS and traction control is one of them. What clicks with you in this car? I know obviously you've got the LS FRS, you've got another FRS that you run in Time Attack. This is a pretty different beast though, even though the FRS is quote unquote the poor man's 911. So how do you click with this car versus those that you drive in GRIDLIFE?
Well, I think this thing's it's pretty direct, I think, and the way it likes to give away and move around, especially the rear ends. I think it's pretty progressive, even though it's a little bit spicy sometimes.
Peter Zhang on the podium in Porsches. Peter, thanks for talking. Congratulations, and we'll see you next week at Road America.
Of course, thanks, Kyle.
Thank you. And Franz Hansen comes home in second place, and it almost wasn't. You had a hard-charging Peter Zhang there at the end, only a 10th behind you. Wow, take us through that fight. I know DJ was well off in the distance, but your rearview mirror was pretty packed full those last couple laps.
Oh yeah, thanks, Kyle. That was a nail biter. I got greedy and put in very low fuel so I could keep a low ride height. And I was starting to, when I got a 3-second lead on Peter, I started coasting into some of the corners. And then he caught me and I couldn't do it anymore. And I was down to 0.4 liters at the finish. And then he did better through the traffic as well. So that was a close one.
Yeah, super fun. And you've found some success in this series with this particular car. What about this car clicks with you? Because it seems like you've really come into your own here in this category in this championship.
Well, thank you. I just keep driving it, and I get coaching from DJ.
Well, that explains it.
and I just keep working on it and get a little faster. So I'm having a blast.
Thanks for chatting with us. Congratulations on a second place. It was very nearly a third, but great effort there at the end to hold back Peter. And we'll talk to you next week at Road America. Good luck.
Thank you.
And DJ Alessandrini, I figured we'd be talking to you a little bit later in the night, DJ. And, well, the rearview mirror didn't have cars in it for long. And then 23 seconds up the road, I think we're going to have to start giving you a lawnmower engine or something just to make it interesting for those in second. But, man, you've just got it clicked. You've got the lizard brain all focused on those apexes. This is a tricky track, too, and you had traffic to contend with. So how'd you keep yourself focused and in the game the whole time?
This is just a really fun track. If there's a track to win by 22.5 seconds, I think it's going to be this one, just because you kind of get just lost in the laps and you're just carving everywhere. It's just a good time. A little bummed that Christian wasn't here this week. I met him IRL this last weekend at a racetrack in Carolina. I met actually a lot of the new faces in person this last weekend, and it was really cool to meet everyone. So everyone that I met this weekend, it was fun hanging out. There's a lot of new faces in the league this year. And it's fun when you get to meet those new faces.
Yeah, I think he's actually signed up for NOS Energy Track Battle this year as well, if I recall correctly. So,
yep, he was at CMP. He was practicing.
Nice. Cool. Well, that's great.
He
to
is
hear.
very impressive, Kyle. He's very impressive through the kink. So make sure you get some cameras on him. He is lights out through the kink in his Camaro, Kyle.
Oh, I'm excited. We'll have the camera on it for sure. Well, I have to ask one more thing before we sign off for the night. Road America's next week. You're leading by a ways in the championship. You're going to drop down to the GT4s to have a party there as they fight theirs out, or are you going to run the Porsche there?
I haven't decided yet.
Okay, well.
If GT4 looks as stacked as it did at Nürburgring, I'll probably jump into the GT4s. But the Porsche Cup is just it's a much more fun car to drive than the GT4s.
Well, DJ, I was looking for a party. Congratulations on another win. We'll see you at the National Park of Speed, the Jurassic Park of Motorsports. Up next, DJ. Thanks for chatting.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, we had a full house in there tonight. Figured we'd take advantage of it because we don't always get that, Finian. But fun night in the GridLife iRacers Sports Car Championship. And, of course, up next, Road America. I love that place. You love that place. It's a fun racetrack. And this championship has been exciting pretty much every step of the way. And maybe one of the most exciting tracks on the calendar is up next.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun to see these guys slipstreaming down the straightaways. You can argue tonight didn't really have a whole lot of passing opportunities. It was hard to pass. I think Road America is going to be the exact opposite. It's going to be a fantastic race to round out this championship.
That'll do it for us tonight, the GridLife iRacers Sports Car Championship. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to subscribe to I guess it's follow over there on Twitch, isn't it? Twitch.tv/GridLifeOfficial. Make sure you keep in touch for our COTA Special GLTC event on the second weekend in March and the second weekend in April. We go back to racing in Track Battle, Drift, and GridLife Touring Cup at the Carolina Motorsports Park event. GridLife South Carolina is our first festival tour of the season. We'll see you there, and we'll see you next week right here on Twitch.tv/GridLifeOfficial. Thanks for watching.